Starbase update, Starship flight test number 9, Firefly names his new rocket, Sepoch successfully demonstrates rocket reusability, Cargo Dragon comes back on Earth, new CNES Chief Appointed despite some opposition, launches of the week. Hi everyone, I'm Christophe Paget for All About Space, and this is your Space Update. At Starbase, SpaceX was preparing for the 9th flight tests with booster number 14 and Starship number 35. At the production site, the ship was getting its 8 simulated Starlink satellites installed inside its payload bay. Nearby, the high bay demolition is finally complete, and booster number 14 has been rolled out again to the launch site and mounted on the launch mount number 1. Starship number 35 was soon after following to the launch site and was stacked up onto booster number 14, ready for flight test number 9, which took place a day or so later. Continuing with the production site, Starship number 37 left the Mega Bay for the Massey site for cryogenic testing. On March the 6th, 2025, Starship 8th flight tests, the biggest, most powerful rocket launched successfully from Starbase in Texas, with all 33 Raptor engines on the Super Heavy booster functioning during ascent. The booster executed a hot staging separation, relit 11 out of 13 engines for a boost back burn, and achieved a third successful catch at the launch tower despite one engine failing to relight due to torch ignition issues. On the Starship upper stage experienced a failure when a center Raptor engine suffered an energetic event, leading to the loss of the vehicle control and telemetry about 9.5 minutes into the flight. SpaceX identified a hardware failure causing propellant mixing as the probable root cause. Several design fixes were implemented on the Starship number 35, followed by extensive ground testing, including over 100 Raptor firing. May 28th, finally, SpaceX launched its next Starship rocket on its 9th flight tests from Starbase City in Texas. This flight saw the first real flight of a Super Heavy booster, number 14, and included various experiments for future performance. The booster took off and separated from the Starship number 35 as planned, and attempted an offshore landing rather than return to be caught by the MOKKA chopsticks to maximize safety, where SpaceX was pushing the flight envelope to see how the booster would behave in high-speed descent and high angle of attack. As a result, the booster broke before reaching its landing spot in the Gulf of Mexico or America. After stage separation, the Starship number 35 failed to deploy 8 Starlink simulators due to the payload door being stuck and started losing altitude control, and therefore could not test the relight of a Raptor engine in space, and the re-entry was therefore compromised and the ship failed 46 minutes in the flight. The previous issues were clearly resolved and new problems cropped up. Elon mentioned that the next flights will occur in close successions to bottom down the issues met in this flight. During an interview with Ars Technica, Elon mentioned that the most important thing is data on how to improve the tile design, so it's basically data during the high heating re-entry phase in order to improve the tiles for the next iteration. So we've got like a dozen or more tile experiments. We are trying different coating on tiles, we are trying different fabrication techniques, different attachment techniques, we are varying the gap filler for the tiles, and also we want to make sure that we have solved the issues that caused the explosions in the last 2 flights in the upper stage engine bay. Elon later mentioned that he was happy with the behavior of the tiles and that the issues that caused the explosion during the previous last 2 flights were resolved. Firefly has been working with Northrop Grumman to replace its medium launch vehicle Antares rocket to allow Northrop Grumman to continue launching the Cygnus cargo resupply spacecraft to the ISS, contracted by NASA. I have covered that in several previous episodes, and this rocket is capable of launching 16.3 tons to low Earth orbit, comparable to a reusable Falcon 9. What is new this week is just a name. The rocket is now named Eclipse and is still expected to fly in the second half of 2026. Beijing Sepoch Technology Company, a private Chinese space company, is developing reusable rockets similar to that of SpaceX's Starship, for example, using liquid oxygen methane propellant or stainless steel structure and four fins, with the ship 27-meter tall and 4.2-meter in diameter and a liftoff mass of 57 tons. On May 29th, Sepoch announced the successful completion of a maiden sea-based flight and recovery tests of a shorter version. It reached an altitude of about 2.5 kilometers with a soft landing and recovery at sea. The test lasted 125 seconds. The orbital version, called Huangxingze-1 or XZY-1, is expected to take off later this year, an ambitious target. Dragon resupply mission comes back down with experiments and results after staying at the ISS for just 1 month. On May 23rd, François Jacques, former head of CEA, was confirmed as the new president and CEO of CNES, France's space agency. He replaces Philippe Baptiste, who resigned in January 2025 to take the position of Minister of Higher Education and Research in the French government. Jacques will serve until 2026, the end of the previous mandate, but will hope to be re-elected for a full 4-year mandate. His appointment faced significant opposition from the parliamentary committees, with one deputy accusing him of being a loyal executor of Macron's agenda rather than a defender of the French interests. Jacques' priorities for CNES include strengthening European cooperation, ensuring independent space access, developing dual-use technologies, and promoting scientific excellence. May 23rd, the Russian Space Force launched a Soyuz 2.1A with a Fregat M upper stage for its mission Cosmos 2588, a classified satellite on the same orbit as the US military optical reconnaissance satellite USA 338. On the same day, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from California for a Starlink mission Group 1116. The first stage flew for the 18th time and landed on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You. May 24th, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from Florida for a Starlink mission Group 1222. The first stage flew for the 24th time and landed on the drone ship A Shortfall of Gravitas. May 27th, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from California for a Starlink mission Group 17-1. The first stage flew for the 13th time and landed on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You. May 28th, SpaceX launched its Starship rocket from Starbase City in Texas for its 9th flight tests. The booster number 14 flew for the second time and did not survive the torture inflicted by SpaceX to test the hardware envelope. The Starship number 35, the first version 2 ship, managed to reach the Indian Ocean but failed to deliver its dummy payload and lost attitude control and failed during re-entry. Some progress was, however, made compared to the last 2 flights on the Starship. On the same day, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from Florida for a Starlink mission Group 1032. The first stage flew for the 19th time and landed on the drone ship, just reading the instructions. Later on that day, CSC launched its Long March 3BE from China for its mission Tianwen-2, an interplanetary exploration mission to collect samples from asteroid 469219 Kamo Aolewa and study comet 311p pan-stars in the main asteroid belt. May 29th, CSC launched from China a Long March 4B for its mission Xiliang 26, an Earth observation satellite. In summary, from January 1st until May 29th, 2025, 115 rockets were launched successfully. Out of that, 73 were from an American company or institutions, 32 from China, and 1 from Russia. I leave you this week with a video montage from the NASA Mars rover Curiosity with the view from the slopes of Mount Sharp, with the distant rim of Gale crater on the horizon. Curiosity has been roaming on Mars's surface for over 4,500 Martian days, known as sols, over 12 Earth years and 9 Earth months. To give you an idea, Mount Sharp, where the rover is currently, is about 5 kilometers high or 3 miles high. The rover has traversed many terrains and crossed 35 kilometers or 22 miles to date. Let us acknowledge such a technological achievement on a planet 225 million kilometers or 140 million miles away from us. Thank you for watching your channel All About Space. See you at the next episode of Space News.